Primetime local news, serving the Lakeland and Midwest regions.
Good evening and welcome to Primetime Local News. I'm Callum Hawker and thank you for joining us. Lloydminster MLA Colleen Young has gotten a promotion in a small Sask Party cabinet shuffle today. Young will now serve as the Minister of Advanced Education after Saskatoon Northwest MLA Gord Wyant stepped down. Young spent 20 years with the Lloydminster Public School Division and 16 as the board chair. Lloydminster RCMP are still on the hunt for a violent offender who was mistakenly released from court yesterday. Court sheriffs alerted RCMP that 32-year-old Jesse Eric Dillon had inadvertently been released even though there was a court order remanding him to stay into custody. Dillon is charged with robbery and multiple firearm-related offenses, and a warrant has been issued for his arrest so he can face charges of assault with a weapon in Saskatoon. Dillon is described as having a light complexion, 6 feet tall and 220 pounds, with black hair and brown eyes. Dillon has ties to Onion Lake and may be in the area, and also RCMP in Alberta say not to approach him. City Council still can't decide on the possibility on having public transit in Lloydminster. They continued their discussion this week. Administration has brought forward the final report for public transportation in the city. The report includes a feasibility study as well all of the public engagement done up to this point.
Some proposals in the feasibility study saying if you were to look at public transit, would on demand be one option, and then they have various routes and level of service. Again, all to give us more information as a feasibility study.
Council is overall hesitant comparing Lloydminster to similar municipalities where adding public transit has had its financial problems.
Discussions about what potential fares would be, as well as implications to the taxpayer. Because at the end of the day, public transit does not produce a revenue. It's not a revenue generator, it is an expense. But as what was discussed around council table, there's value for businesses, for students, for nonprofits.
Council accepted the report and they'll revisit the issue at a later date. If you'd like to read the Public Transportation Master Plan, visit lloydminster.ca. A student at Bishop Lloyd Middle School has won an award on a watershed project for students across Alberta. Award winner Sadie Bruce Copprood said the project idea came to her easily and that she wanted to start by educating others.
With my project, I go out to classrooms in the elementary schools with my puppet, a Misk, and we teach them about the watershed and how we can protect it and the animals in it. And after I show them my presentation and all those things, we do a pointillism art project of my logo.
Bruce Copperood's teacher, Derek Highland, says this is a big accomplishment given the amount of students who took part in the project.
This year there was like 598 students applying from schools all over Alberta. Sadie made the top 10, and then she gave her presentation at the top 10 challenge and came in first place, so it was pretty cool.
The Agriculture Student Scholarship is given out to students across Saskatchewan going into post-secondary education in agriculture, and a student from Lloydminster was the grand prize recipient. Our Thomas Wildman has more.
Today, I'm happy to be joined by Marley Mann. She is the winner of the Agriculture Student Scholarship, as well as a very active part of the Lloydminster community. And so thank you so much for being with me today, Marley.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
So talk to me a little bit about the Agriculture Student Scholarship, the process for applying for it, what you had to do, and then how excited you were when you got to win the $6,000 for a provincial competition like this.
Yeah, absolutely. So it started out, you see a lot of posts on Facebook and other social media platforms asking for kids to apply for it. And so I thought it would be a great thing to apply for, whether I got it or not. So I had to write an essay about sustainable agriculture and kind of the environmental impacts of what that looks like. And then there also had to be, you had to send in a reference letter as well. So those were the two things you had to do. And so I handed this in, I believe it was around March that it was due. And then I got a call, and I was pretty overwhelmed when I got the call that I won the scholarship. And it truly was a great experience. I think even just writing the scholarship, and then more so the money and everything has been fantastic.
And so obviously you have a very big passion for the agriculture industry. Talk to me a little bit about that, as well as one of your other passions being in the skills and trades, and a little bit about what you've been doing with that recently.
Yeah, for sure. So my family runs a yearling operation of cattle north of Lloydminster, and I am quite involved with that in all aspects. I don't get a outside summer job, so I work for my dad and my grandfather lots. And it's definitely my enjoyment and what I want to do. And so through school, I've also become involved in the welding classes at school. And I was fortunate enough to be selected to represent my school at the skills competition. And I placed at regionals, so I got to move on just last week to the provincial competition in Edmonton, which was a very cool experience for sure.
Awesome. And so you get the $6,000 in the scholarship. So what are you going to be putting that towards, and kind of where are you going to school for upcoming after you graduate from high school?
Yeah, so this fall I'm going to be going to Lakeline College in Lloydminster. I'm going to be taking university transfer in sciences. And I'm fortunate enough also to be playing for the women's hockey team there, which I'm really looking forward to. And then I plan on transferring to the University of Saskatchewan to take my Bachelor of Science in Agriculture, majoring in animal science.
That's very exciting. And with being able to play for the Rustlers team, you'll have a little bit of familiar relations with your uncle being the coach of the team. And just how exciting is that to be able to continue playing hockey here in Lloydminster for you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think every young athlete dreams of being able to continue on. And so I'm very grateful for the opportunity. My sister's actually just spent her last 2 years there, so she will be moving on this year, but I've kind of been able to see what the program's all about. And then my uncle is the coach of the team, and I also have a cousin that's still on the team. So it's definitely, there's lots of family around it, which makes it a lot of fun. And I really believe in what their program is about, so I'm looking forward to it.
All right, well, perfect. Well, thank you so much for coming in today, Marley. It's great to hear about you winning that scholarship and being a great advocate for ag here in Lloydminster. And so congratulations to you, and thank you so much for coming.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me.
We'll have more primetime local news after the break.
Furniture set and design supplied by Furniture Gallery, downtown Lloydminster.
Abby St. John spoke with meteorologist Peter Quinlan about what the weather will be like for the May-long weekend.
I'm happy to be joined here today by global Saskatoon meteorologist Peter Quinlan. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thanks for having me, Abby.
Of course. Now we're heading into May-long weekend, which usually kicks off the camping season for a lot of families. Now, weather-wise, how are we looking for this long weekend?
So we do have a cooler May long weekend on the way, and May long weekends can be kind of fickle. They can go both ways. This year, it will be cooler, it will be wetter, but we do need both of those things to help with the moisture in the ground, to add more in. It's not going to be a washout, though. There'll be lots of good moments to be outside. It'll just be kind of showers with dry breaks in between. Still fairly cloudy, so not an overly sunny weekend, although we could see some sunny breaks on Sunday. Looks like the wetter day will probably be Victoria Day Monday, and also on Saturday we do have a decent chance of rain. Daytime highs are going to struggle to get out of single digits, so you want the jacket and probably a raincoat as well.
Along with the gloomy, rainy weather, will wind also play a factor in this weekend?
Yeah, it is, unfortunately. We're talking about gusts potentially at times up to 50 kilometers per hour, particularly on Sunday, and potentially even on Saturday. We could see those strong west-northwesterly winds. So they're going to be what's keeping temperatures cool. And yeah, if you're going to be trying to do something like, I don't know, disc golfing or something like that, it might not go so well for you.
So definitely make sure if you plan to go out this weekend to pack accordingly. Now, unfortunately, fire season has already begun across BC, Alberta, Saskatchewan, and even into Manitoba, and smoke has started to become an issue. What can people expect the air quality to be like this weekend?
So air quality is actually going to improve because in the fire zones around Fort McMurray and Fort Nelson, they're getting suppressed fire activity because they've been seeing rain and will continue to do so in cooler temperatures. So basically there's less smoke going into the atmosphere and flooding south. There is a computer model called the firework model that Environment Canada produces. You can just Google firework model and it'll show you a projection as to where the smoke is going to be headed. That can help you with knowing the forecast for the air quality. It may be some brief moments where you notice the air is a little hazier, but I don't think it'll be anything atrocious. At least at this point, it's when the north gets lots of dry weather and hot days, gusty winds, and then we get that in the Lloydminster area as well, that we get the bad air quality. So thankfully, that will not be as much of a concern over the long weekend.
That's definitely a positive. And of course, the rain is needed as well. We don't always want it to rain, especially on a long weekend, but it's needed for sure. Is there anything else that you would like to add about this weather for the long weekend?
I would just say that this is great news for the farmers in the fields as well, for the growing season. We've been wanting cooler days and more moisture, and that's what we're getting, and we probably could still use some more.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for joining me today, and hopefully everyone has a great May long weekend.
Yes, absolutely. Have a great long weekend.
It's time now to take a look at the upcoming community events in this week's edition of What's Happening with Heather Clagus.
Weaver Heritage Park is getting set to open for the season, and coming up tomorrow, it's going to be their grand opening for this season. And they've got so many different activities planned for you and your family. You can join them to take part in some old-fashioned games. There's going to be a chance to make a craft. There's going to be an opportunity to see some different heritage demonstrations, including a blacksmithing demonstration. Try some homemade ice cream. Plus, you've got an opportunity to take a look at pieces of history from this area, like take a look at Rendell House, also at a number of antique tractors that they have here on site. You can join them tomorrow for their opening. It gets underway at 10:30 a.m. tomorrow morning. Admission is by donation. Coming up next weekend, it's the St. Walburg Walk for Mental Wellness, and this time around, they're hosting a two-day event. Next Friday, May 24th, they're going to be hosting a roast beef supper, and then there's going to be a performance by comedian Big Daddy Taz. You may have seen him on Just for Laughs, and he once set a record for the longest stand-up comedy show. Get your ticket for that event now at Kim's Service or Ace Hardware in St. Walburg. Then coming up next Saturday, May 25th, they'll be hosting their Walk for Mental Wellness. There's no ticket necessary to take part in that event. Just join them at the Catholic Parish Center starting at 10 a.m. on Saturday, May 25th. You will find more details on their Facebook page. And a night of outlaw country is coming to Lloydminster. May 31st at the Vic Juba Community Theatre. It is North America's #1 tribute to Johnny Cash and Waylon Jennings. Tickets are available now. Don't wait. Get your ticket online at vicjubatheatre.ca. Well, whatever you choose to do this weekend, we hope you stay safe and stay healthy.
What's Happening is brought to you by Northern Factory Workwear, Circle Drive East, Saskatoon, and Highway 17 South, Lloydminster.
That's all for us from Primetime Local News. Have a great long weekend, everybody.